All right, everybody. As you know, I am Mike with the Abnormal Investigations. You know that I've covered the Oklahoma Girl Scout murders in depth on a few different videos. Today, you're going to hear something that has never been heard before. I have a witness. It was a witness to the murders that has information that I believe has never been told. Uh, she's came forward, contacted me, and is ready to share her side of the story and to get it off of her conscience and be able to move on from the things that she's had to live through. She suffers from PTSD. It's been a long, hard ride for her. She has many counselors, professional caregivers that have assisted her in being able to tell this story. She has also been medically hurt in a freak accident that has caused her not to be able to stand or walk at this time. So if you see her sideways, she is in a position that is medically uh, produced that she has to be able to be in to be able to do the video. I'm going to bring her on. She's going to say a little bit about herself, and then we're going to continue with some information that's never been told. I ask that everybody respects her. This takes a lot of courage to be able to do this. Hopefully, her first step in doing this will bring out others. It will give rest to the children. I hope that this will give not only the children their voice that they deserved a long time ago, but will also help family, friends, and others to understand maybe kind of what happened that night. Um, I want to go ahead and bring my guest in, and her name is Lisa, as you'll see under her name. And I want to let her say a short thing about herself, and then we will continue with the evidence and everything that she wants to present today.
Um, Hello, everybody. I just want to just ask that, I pray right now, dear Lord Jehovah God, in Jesus Christ's name, I pray, dear Lord, give me let the Holy Spirit work through me right now, Lord. I'm your servant. I've been holding this in for almost 50 years, and Lord, I just want people to know what happened before something does happen to me. Uh, I just ask for protection all around me and everybody involved in this case. I loose some ministering angels all about us, and I want these little earth angels that were horribly murdered. They were manipulated. They were torn to pieces. Anyway, I'll let you know here later on in the details. Michael will, but I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself first. In Jesus Christ's name, I pray. Alright, my name is Lisa Marie, and I'm called the Wolf Lady because I raised wolves. I'm retired now. I only have one, about 200-pound baby, Hercules, my Hercupoo. He's a black wolf. Anyway, I'm a California Okie. My family moved back and forth from California to Oklahoma, and we finally settled down in about 1970 outside Locust Grove, Oklahoma, and we raised exotic animals and domestic animals. We supplied pet shops all over the United States, Puerto Rico, and Canada. We had our own vet lab there, and one thing I want people to know, because on the story, I do know animal sounds real well and animal bites real well, and this is really important to this case. Um, anyway, I excelled in school. I was uh, president, vice president, all the way from 76 to 81. I was in the drill team flag 1 year. I was rifle next year, and then cheerleader the next year. But I loved rifle because we got to go to rifle school. The reason why is because we didn't know back then I had PTSD, and I am a workaholic. So what I did in school is I just did everything. But back then, people didn't ask for help, especially my family. That had been taboo to ask for help on mental. Anyway, here goes. I'm gonna let you guys go down this little rabbit hole with me. All right, about 24 hours before the 24 to 36 hours before the murders, Buddy Bristol snuck in our home and tried to attack me, and who was raised as my sister. I won't say her name. You keep that anonymous. But he tried to attack us, and we got fire pokers to get him away from us. You got to remember these people back in the 70s. He looked like Charles Manson, their hair and all that. Anyway, we had 4 entrances to our house, doors, and 2 over on this side, and you'd have to go around and step up and go to the other side. So by the time we got to one side, we don't know where he went. So anyway, my family had been out of town on a business, out of town for business. So anyway, I called them because back then we didn't have cell phones and none of that. I called them. They told me to get out of the house. So I did. And anyway, so I decided I'm gonna go camp out in my little hideout. I used to ride horses everywhere, and we had creeks to our house. The creeks, you get the creek to go right down to the Girl Scout camp. But anyway, so anyway, Camp Scott, you go up Highway 82 and go down 1 mile, and you turn into Camp Scott, but you got to go all the way down south, a little over a mile to get back to their to the tent 8. Okay, and where I was at, you just cross the bridge, the Snake Creek Bridge. They can run together and cut back that way, be on Earbulb Road. I know it sounds funny, but it's earrings from old days. Earbulb Road, Locust Grove. Go down. Anyway, go down in the very first dirt road. I went back in there about a mile north. Sorry about that. Thought I was safe. Okay, well, that night, it was really weird. The animals in the woods were quiet. If any of you all know, when there's a predator or something in the woods, the animals, usually the hoot owls or screech owls, they'll let you know, or in the daytime, the crows will let you know when something's in there. But anyway, so I was down there, and it had that freak rainstorm, but it didn't rain continuously all night long. It rained probably around between 1 to 3 o'clock in the morning. Okay, that's really important. Okay, so anyway, like that, I could hear stuff, and I thought I saw a person or a couple of people. Never thought nothing of it because, I didn't know anything. All right, well, I guess the next day it was my family come and got me. Can you still hear me, Michael?
Yep, here you go.
Okay. All right. Hello, my baby wolf. My wolf's checking on me all. Anyway, Mama's okay. Anyway, the next day, I guess my family come and got me, and I was wondering why they did. And I was raised with my Nana and Papa and my dad at Indian home. Our land, everybody, when you grow up in the country, usually the kids get a part of the land and get to have a home or trailer on it, But anyway, this still keeps falling down. Sorry, guys. Anyway, so we get home, and Nana and Papa, I'm going, what's going on? And they go, get back in the bedroom where we had a gun collection. We had elephant guns and all that. So anyway, I got back there, and my dad comes down, and they all had to come back in from business, and I think they were in Virginia or Maryland. Yeah, so they flew in quick. I didn't know why. They told me, and here's what they told me. They said, this is for, the buses in town. They bus some girls out later on in the day They didn't even tell the families. My family knew about this before the families knew about it. It's crazy. It makes you wonder. But anyway, so they told me there was some little girls murdered down there by where you were camping. They didn't tell me Camp Scott. They said across the creek. So I thought, okay. And I said, well, how were they? And they said they weren't right. They were what's it called? I'm so shook up. When people are tore up body parts and mauled.
Oh, they were mutilated.
Mutilated. That's what my family told me. They said they were mutilated, Lisa Marie. I said, okay. Okay.
I want to apologize about the mowing right now. I don't have any control over that.
Okay.
I'll mute my mic.
No, that's okay. Don't worry about it. So anyway, they told me, yeah, they were mutilated and that sticks had been, shoved up in them. That I was lucky to be alive. Anyway, so they kept me at home. I wasn't allowed to go anywhere, and you couldn't. You know why? I mean, are you still there, Michael? Can you hear me? Anyway, so right before I went camping, that 24 to 36 hours before the murders, up on our property. Here we go, Michael, with the ritual stuff I've seen, but I'm not going to say what. Anyway, on our property, my uncle and some other people, and Buddy was one of them for sure. I don't know about Gene Leroy or the Bendabouts, but it started there at our property. They had a place down closer to the camp that they would go to. That was where my dad got attacked and bit. This place right there. But anyway, Michael, when you want to come in and let us know about what all happened with everything, because
Right.
I pretty well got
We'll
it set.
start. Okay. We'll just go right down to questions. What was your relationship to Jimmy Love?
Okay, Jimmy Breedlove was my cousin that had got we're from California Okies, and his mom and daddy, I think, I suppose, left him on top of a hill, which is really a mountain on the map by Camp Scott by Spring Creek right there, and he had no running water, no electric, of course, no phone. He barely had a couple pair of pants and a shirt to his name. He is my cousin, and he's the one to where he said this. And this took me a long time, years of trying to get it out of him, because he wouldn't say anything. And he's scared probably for his life. Anyway, here's what he said. He said that Buddy Bristol, that Gene Leroy, and that one of the Bendabout guys come to his house full of blood on June 13th. And they were full of blood, even coming from Camp Scott through the water with it raining all the way up his hill. And you got to remember, these boys knew those woods like the back of their hands, so they could get there like that. So when they got up there, they told my cousin, they say, you are gonna help us burn these clothes and help us get out of here. And they built a bonfire up there, and they told him the story of what they did beforehand. They all planned this. This was a planned murder, planned ritualistic.
And the reason that they burned and destroyed the clothes is they were blood soaking, correct?
and had body flesh on them. Yeah, that you know as well as I know. That's from when people are close up and personal. Horrifying.
My next question would be about still about Tommy Breedlove. One of the things I would like to also let the people know is at the time that this happened to Lisa, she was at the age of approximately 12 to 13 years old, correct?
Right. Right.
Mr. Breedlove is no longer with us. He passed away in February 16th of 2023.
I want to say something.
Um,
I want to say something on
okay,
that, Mom.
sure.
Yeah, y'all. I tell people I'm sweet 16 and never been kissed, but really I'm gonna be 60 next year. So I've kept this in for almost 50 years. I didn't talk about it. But anyway, I was going to my cousin when I saw on the news Mays County how they said only one man did this, and there is no way possible on the face of the earth that one man could have done everything that was done to these ladies and these little girls, and Michael let y'all know here in a minute. But I was going to get my cousin. I was going to get him, and he died right before could get hold of Mike to set this up. So that's an ongoing investigation right there. Okay, Mike.
And then my next question is going to be a little deeper. Why do you believe Mr. Breedlove was involved in the murders of the three girls in question at Camp Scott, located in Oklahoma?
He wasn't involved in the actual killings, but he was involved after the fact. And what would you do? Anybody, if three bloody men come up in the middle of the night, you had no phone, no water, no electric, and they told you you're going to do this. I mean, but they were his friends. They were all friends. But I love my cousin.
Is there anything else that you would like to add about Mr. Breedlove, or anything else that you think is important about Mr. Breedlove at this time?
No, man, I just want him to rest in peace. I do.
All
It's
right.
my it's my uncle, the one that I always have that nagging feeling about, because where it all started was with him.
Right. All right. We're going to move on uh, to another alleged suspect that is also no longer with us anymore.
Thank God.
He passed away 9 months ago. Um, what is your relationship to Calvin Bendabout?
Don't know. All I know on that is I think they were older than me in school, and they were in the group of people that I didn't run with. That I was like that honor student and stuff. So, um, I just it was my cousins that was very good friends with him, and my uncle.
And if you do, what would make you think that Mr. Bendabout would be involved in the murder of the three girls at Camp Scott in Oklahoma?
But for one thing, when you showed me the picture of him, um, like I told you, Michael, the only time I ever saw something like that is, I'm Cherokee and Choctaw, but I do sweats with the Lakota Sioux, and the only time I've ever seen anything like that was with medicine men that were doing dark medicine or whatever, like my uncle was doing. But that's what scared me about that. But the thing I believe is because that's what my cousin told me, and like I said, I had to glean that out of my needle that out of my cousin for years, and he let my dad die thinking that Gene Leroy Hart was still innocent. My dad believed to this day that Gene was innocent. My daddy was one of the ones smoking the courthouse with the Indians. My daddy was on the Indian side. My uncle was on the white side, and that's what it was all about. It split the natives against the whites, and it was a power trip. It was a power trip from Pete Weaver and them. at power in more than one way, in evil, satanic way, and of who was going to be in charge of the sheriff department and government and stuff like that. But yeah, so yeah, it took a long time for me to get that on my cousin. I believe he told me the truth, because you know why? They would have nailed him. He would have got three. He would have got 3 concurrent life sentences. He would have been put to the electric chair, if they, or the gas chamber. And for him to even admit that and trusting me, he knew I wouldn't say a word. And the reason he knew I wouldn't say a word is because back then Buddy was still alive, and I told you about me running into him and what happened to me after I ran into him. Mm-hmm.
That's who we're going to talk about now. Is Buddy Jr. Bandit Bristol. What was your relationship to him?
Buddy had been friends with both my dad and my uncle, and creepy, Charles Manson, creepy. The dude had problems, and the whole town knew it. They knew he was involved. And that's why when I was little, I couldn't figure out why in the world they didn't put him away. But that's the one that tried getting me and my who was raised as my sister, right about 24 hours, 36 hours before the killings, the sacrifices, because that's what it was. And you know, I was this close to being one of them little girls, and I had the pigtails just like the little farmer girl. It gives me the creeps. I'm so sorry, guys. I'm just, it might. I don't talk bad about my family. I respect the dead, but you know what? When it comes to this stuff, it's like I don't know what to do.
And do you believe that Mr. Bristol was involved in the murders of the little girls at Camp Scott, the Girl Scouts?
Definitely, 100%, 100%.
Would you like to add anything else about him right now, or you'd rather wait till we get first?
Add like when I ran into him in 2009, and I think you even said in 2009 that he was there prior. I had been helping some people there, and he said, "Oh wow, you're so and so's little girl," and I thought, "Oh, how sweet!" And I turned my back, and I went, "Ah!" I had felt like daggers going all in me, and I ran to people. I said, "Ah, that's yeah," and they went and searched his bunk where he was staying, and they found little girls' panties, little girls' trinkets. You know, like how a serial killer collects trinkets? And he told them that, or his little buddies that was bunking with him said, "Oh, he keeps them to keep him from killing little girl." And I go, "Well, how do you know about that?" They go, "Well, we went and asked him about it." And I thought, "Oh boy." Next thing you know, about
so he was.
Yeah, I ended up halfway, nude in a ditch. Mays County found me. Yeah.
So he was already allegedly collecting trophies from little girls.
Yeah, already. You know, telling how many murders he's done. But that's how I ended up here, Michael. Scared to death. And I've been in hiding ever since. And I didn't know about him being dead until you told me.
Right.
And I want to make clear to everybody, I have not watched YouTube things on this. I have not watched anything. I years ago I read that book years ago that was not truthful at all. Locust Grove couldn't believe people wrote something like that, and I had enough of it. And then when I seen on the news last year about them saying one man did it, and I about threw up. And because I know, and anybody that's got any common sense whatsoever in the world knows, there is no way possible at all one person could have done that. Is there, Michael? No way. No way. I mean, the other girls would have woke up and took off running. I mean, there's just no way. Do I need to tell them about how I know about how they got underneath the tents? Is what my cousin told me right now. Are you there?
Not right now, but not right now. But we are going to get to that
Okay.
for sure.
Okay.
We one more thing I want to let's talk about Gene Leroy Hart. What was your relationship to him, or your family's relationship to him?
Okay. Don Eddie was Gene's son, and went to school with me, and people were picking on him. They did pick on the Hart family. You know, in that article I read just a while ago, it says how the law said they didn't pick on them. Yes, they did pick on them. I did take up for Don Eddie in school. Felt sorry for him. As far as Gene Leroy, him and my daddy were really close friends, and I guess my uncles were friends with Buddy and the other ones, but my dad went to his grave believing that Gene was innocent. Like I said, my dad was one of the Indian medicine men with them down at the courthouse, smoking the courthouse over Gene's innocence. So I don't know. My cousin waited till my dad died, and then he told me, and I was mad at Jimmy. I said, Jimmy, how could you not tell my daddy? I said, my daddy went to his grave thinking his friend was innocent. And my dad could read people. He could read people like that. So I don't know on that one. I really don't. I know he was pipelined, set up. I know that. I know that for a fact. And that's what I saw personally. You know that later whenever you ask me.
Okay. The next question I have, and I know this one will start going a little deep, what we've talked about in the past. So we're going to start going just a little deeper slowly. I've got it written where we'll slowly move into the harder questions. Where was you at the night the murders took place at Camp Scott when the three little girls were murdered? Where was you at that night? What did you hear and what did you see?
Okay, a while ago I answered that without you questioning me. Already answered that. Um, already showed that Highway 82 and then Camp Scott, and then they had to go back down a mile south, and then I got the next road over on Earbob Road, and I went back up north. You know, it'd be like that, and the creeks are right there. So I honestly cannot tell you the exact measurements I was to it, but I I would say what's about 2 3 football fields, something like that.
So
And
you were in the proximity of the murders that night. You
I was
were
in the
in the
danger zone.
you were in the area.
That's when my dad went berserk. You know I told you what happened. So yeah, I was. Uh, that's why the cops kept bugging me until my papa put a stop to it. My dad and Nana put a stop to it, but they asked me all the time, "When you see this? When you see? What you see?" Until I didn't know if what I saw, or if I did, or if I didn't. But apparently, uh, what I saw when my father had taken me back down there, so I had memories because, like I told you before, I could see the men having the manhunt, and I could see over on one side of me, right down where I was at, not where the girls. The Girl Scouts was right across the creek. I was on this side of the creek. They were on the other side, and they were already having the manhunt and everything. So, but that anyway, that's where I was, and I was down there trying to get away from everybody else. A young girl, scared to death. Buddy tried to kill us, and I got away, and uh, and I went down there, and I had no idea whatsoever, ever was going on. I knew they did some weird ritual shamanistic stuff up on our land, but never in my wildest dreams would I ever think people could do what was done to them little girls ever in my life. Are you still there, Michael?
Yeah, I had to. Our computer's getting a little goofy, but I've got it controlled, I think. Uh, are you familiar with what was found at the cave that linked Hart to the investigation? And do you have any information about what Scott Weaver may have done or that took place that may implicate that he may have set the crime up to make it look like James Leroy Hart was guilty?
Yes. They come to our house, I guess, Pete Weaver and his deputies, or whoever it was with them. I don't know. And they were talking to my papa. I don't know. I know my dad wasn't there because my dad did not. But okay, we had a hearth and a rock wall, and a fireplace, and we did all that rock work ourselves off our lands because we had a rock land company too. But anyway, they were there in my house, in my living room, and I was standing back here, and they were there, and they had laid out some pictures. It looked like about 5 items, and I could see like pictures, and I could see like what I described to you before as like a Prince Albert. It's an old time can of tobacco that people used to smoke. And like I read a while ago in that report, like I said, I washed my hands 50 years ago of all this, and I just read just that while ago that they found cigarette butts. Duh. Okay, it's making sense. Almost everything they found supposedly in these caves, they were in my living room before they ever even found it. And the conversation went like this: they told my papa Seth, is my papa's name, that they were gonna get that Indian. They're gonna get him, and this is what they're gonna find. And they were there before that ever got found. And they also kept looking over at me, and I started really getting scared, really bad. They started hounding me and everything, and finally, after that building got sent to our house from the Camp Scott, they sent me somewhere safe. So, yeah, after I saw the evidence there at our house, um, and oh my
So
goodness,
you saw everything that was found in.
I didn't.
So
I can't.
everything that
I
was
saw
found in
everything that was
the
found in
cave,
the cave. I saw a lot of everything that was found at that cave or caves or
and it was
wherever
at,
they
and
were
it was
planted.
and it was at your house before it was in the cave, right?
Yeah, a lot of it. The stuff that I just announced. Yeah, yeah, yes.
Was there seances been conducted before the Girl Scouts arrived at Camp Scott, and who was
Here we
involved in
go.
them? To
Here
your
we go,
knowledge.
Michael. All righty. I don't. I want to say right now because I know there's people that know me. They've always wondered about my family. So here we go, guys. Yeah, we were from California, Okies. My nana and papa, they from Oklahoma. They grew up. They lived off the land, and in the Dust Bowl days, they went to California, and then they went to Alaska. And my papa was a barber, and he raced boats up in Alaska. Then they come back from California and back to Oklahoma. So back and forth. I was born in California. My dad was Oklahoma, but my uncle was California. Jimmy was California. The cousin I told you about that Gene Lloyd died on his birthday, he's California. So anyway, yeah, okay, here goes, guys. They all thought we were different because we raised exotic animals, and my dad and uncle lived down in Oaxaca for a long time, and that's down by Acapulco. And they ship animals back and forth. Well, when they come back, Daddy was with a full blood Navajo, and my uncle was with a I don't think it's a Lakota Sioux. It's it starts with an O. I can't pronounce it right, and I don't want to disgrace that anybody, disrespect anybody. But she was a direct descendant of Red Cloud, And like I said, I am Cherokee Choctaw, and I do sweats with the Lakota Sioux. And if any of y'all ever seen the movie Thunderheart, where the old men get out of that sweat, I do sweats with their relatives, or used to do them. I haven't done anything in years, but anyway, yeah, okay. Everybody wanted to know this about our family, so here goes. Um, God, Dad, you all please forgive me. I don't want to talk bad about my family. Hold on.
Take your time. We're in no hurry.
Yeah, they did. They did shamanistic rituals, and I saw a lot of things in my lifetime. And I know this show here isn't about that. But this is about the Girl Scouts.
The question I just asked
Do
is
you
going
want
to
me to tell them about what was summoned up there, or not?
we will in just a second. I want to go ahead and go into where this question is going to kind of take us, and I think it's going to help people kind of understand. And this question is a hard question. It is a deep question. Um, how did you come to find out that some of the items, including the duct tape, were already hid under the tent the girls would be murdered in, which would be tent number 8? Do you find it weird that the sheriff said that what he said that the duct tape was found in the cave? Also, remember, viewers, that his own deputy testified that he seen the photo in the cave about 2 years before the sheriff had placed it in the cave in the sheriff's desk. So the deputy stated in court that the photo that was found in the cave that was supposedly linked to Jean Leroy Hart was in the sheriff's desk 2 years prior to being placed in the cave. Lisa knows about items being placed under tent number 8 in the what we would call the premeditated murder of the girls, and the items that they would use allegedly. And I'll let her explain more on that.
Okay, here we go. Okay, my uncle and them, and I guess Buddy and them had a ritual up on our homestead, and then they had another place they went to, and this is where the place I'm talking about now is where my dad got attacked. We'll talk about later. That's closer even to the camp that no one knows about, and that's by the real shaman cave that no one knows about. But I'm never gonna say nothing about that because that's my family deal, and I'm not going to do my family dirty. I'm not. So, what Jimmy told me is this. He said that it was like a hit. It was a sacrifice, I guess, to gain power for. I know Native Americans will know, and without me saying, and other people too of all races will know what kind of ritual I'm talking about when people change into creatures. But my cousin told me that they were told before the girls got there. So someone told somebody, which that somebody's probably Jean Leroy, and the person that supposedly told them was a counselor, and that they needed uh three sacrifices, and I think that's in the uh police report Michael will talk about later. But anyway, my cousin told me that what they did is they got underneath the tent there. They had the flashlight, and I don't know about murder weapons. I cannot say about the murder weapons. Now I know the rope and duct tape, but there was some type of power there that was beyond what a normal person could do. Do I need to tell any more?
Yeah, the OSBI stated in the report that there was a pole that was snapped inside of the tent that the girls lost their life. That it whatever would have snapped that pole would have been inhuman strength. That a human would not have been able to do that, which led the OSBI to believe that there was inhuman things starting to happen and some sort of supernatural occurrence was happening in the Camp Scott area, which would get further into with shamanism and skinwalkers and shapeshifters, is the belief where that would have started headed.
Mhm.
Now I know
Correct.
that we talked about that. Um, the seances were not something new to the area. They had already had been doing the seances before the little girls had ever shown up.
Right.
Uh,
They don't call them seances. I really don't know what they call them. Ceremonies, rituals, uh, but the dark, uh, like okay, like in like the Navajo belief, they call them the skinwalker, saying that they had to kill a relative or something, or a sacrifice to gain power to be able to shapeshift. Well, I suppose from watching. But when I'm watching, I was riding my horse up in the pasture in the woods watching. Okay, you got to remember, I was like 12, going to be 13. You wouldn't believe the stuff I seen in my lifetime. But for me watching what they was doing, yeah, I am a strong believer that strange creature things, yes, were summoned up there, and they like I said, the closer they got to Camp Scott, there was another place where my dad walked in on a ritual where that creature attacked my dad and bit him. That was right after the murders. Yeah, right after. So Dad was there to confront them. He knew something. He knew.
okay.
He did.
Go ahead. Since you're talking about that, that was actually my next question. Would you explain to everybody about your father being at one of these rituals and what had happened to him and what was inhuman about what had happened to him?
Okay, I guess after the murders, I guess when my dad took me down there to where I was to try to get me to tell him what I saw or who I saw, then I guess when I was little, I just blurted out what I or who I thought I saw. So when I did that, uh, he went on warpath. I mean, he loved me. He was my only parent. I mean, I was raised. I didn't have a mama. Okay, so he got to where they were all at, and the bad ones, and he walked in on. Dad, I'm so sorry. They hurt my dad. They hurt my dad. He walked in on him to confront him about the Girl Scouts, and they attacked him. And one of them he got hold of.
Do you need to take a break?
No, just he went and hurt my
It's okay. It's okay. Just take your time. There's no hurry.
anyway. It wasn't.
There's no.
It, it was a creature. It been a big old chunk on my dad's arm. And, uh, and he said that when he went, my nana got my nana was red haired Indian Bradshaw, short, broad shouldered. I'd never seen that woman go after people like I did that time to find out what the HELL was going on. And,
To
and
try to help
he
people
told her
kind of
that,
understand.
yeah, but he told him that when he grabbed it to hold on to it, that if he would have let go of it would have killed him. And Nana asked him, "Who were you fighting with?" And he goes, "My brother." And so when we called the doctors, we had private doctors on call. and we had our own vet shop and our own, where Dad could do operations and all that. And when they and like I said, we raised animals. I know animal mods, and they could not figure out what kind of bot it was. Dad was trying to do like surgery, and doctors helped up, and some other private doctors. They didn't know what it was. It stayed like that for years, just getting infected. And I used to tease him. I go, Dad, you got bit by a werewolf, and it wasn't really teasing. But anyway, he lived in that life all of his life, his whole entire life, Michael. Big a chunk. It went down to the bone. I mean, his skin was horrible.
And to help people understand what you're saying is her dad went to one of these rituals, and during the ritual, and correct me if I'm wrong, his brother was attending. His brother had become overtaken by a spirit, and didn't change like Hollywood, but he was changed enough by an encounter that the bite he left on her father was a bite that was not human, that doctors did not recognize.
Right.
And it plagued him. And now another reason I want to throw this out there, and we're not going to go into this, but to help you understand why Lisa's having trouble with this, her dad, from being involved in trying to stop all this, do the right thing. Her dad was doing the right thing. I want to stress that. She's trying to say that her dad was against this. He was not for this. Right. But by him doing this, later on, it would cause her dad to later be murdered, which would die in her arms. So
right.
This is a very hard subject for her.
He died in my arms by the time I got to him. We never found out how it really happened.
So there was a whole lot of evil happening up in there that people just don't understand.
Right.
Now I'm going to leave this question to you, Lisa, if you want to talk about it or if you don't. And if you don't want to, not a big deal. We'll skip to the next one, okay? Do you want to talk about a child being born in a circle?
How about the one that my uncle cursed to die, and you've seen the pictures of the headstones yourself that I sent you, and it really happened, didn't it, Michael? I mean, you've seen where when I told you he knew he was going to my uncle knew he was going to be killed, and 2 miles from our house, which we had to pass by it every day, going to school, going to town, he was in a horrible car wreck. And he went with the fence, not through it. He went with it, then hit a tree with his body. When me and my daddy went down there to see what really happened, there was body parts and body matter and clothes. It looked like a shark attack, or you know what it looked like? A person went through a wood chipper. But right before he died, it was getting ready to be my 13th birthday. It was right, in the Girl Scout thing. And I seen him taking pictures of me with a camera like that. And I said, hey, Uncle, you look like a spirit. And he goes, I'm going to be one. And I said, what do you mean? He got the family together. He goes, I'm going to die, or be killed. And so I'm like, yeah, like good. But because I scared death of him. I was petrified of him more than even Buddy. I was more petrified of my uncle than anybody on the face of the earth. So anyway, yeah, I was going to say about him cursing his son to die, and he said he would curse his first son to die, and it happened. Little baby Aaron is dead in the cemetery right now in my plot, so I don't have a cemetery plot now. But anyway, the next one that was born on the property, I witnessed this myself. He made her have that baby right there at where they conjure. And she had him, and I didn't know whatever happened to him over the years, and I did find him, and I want to keep him out of it. He's done good with his life, But he did ask me about his dad, and there's no way I can break that little boy's heart. I'm not going to do that. I am not going to do that. So, but yeah, that happened. It did. I was a personal witness to that. I got to be there, and they said they had a midwife, but they had a bunch of their, I call them witches, or I don't know what you'd call them.
And to kind of
Satan.
help people understand, and you correct me if I'm wrong, what she's telling y'all is a person was forced to have their child in this circle where these rituals were performed. And it was kind of a ritual setting when this was forced upon her to do this. Now, this child has moved on and has made a great life for
Right.
himself,
Yeah.
and
Right.
she doesn't
And I'm not
want
going
to
to.
talk about that. So, but just to kind of give you all the feel of what went on. Also, correct me if I'm wrong. Your uncle that was killed that went down the fence. There was a also talk amongst the elders that they believe that a Gugwe may have been involved in killing your uncle, and it may not have been a wreck. That something may have jumped through the
Oh,
window and
did
attacked.
him? It was a wreck. Um, it was a wreck. Now when he went, now get this: the little girls were mutilated, and he died, and you'd call that a mutilation. But when me and my dad looked, now here's what gets me: the curve goes like this. When the fence he went through is like that, but the fence posts weren't knocked down. You might be on something. And when me and Dad went in there, you could see right where his body parts and the tree where he actually, and when somebody dies and they bleed out, right. But there's blood everywhere. But you might be into something because me and my dad, we could only see. He must have been hanging out of the door, or the door got ripped off in the car, and and the car went on the other side of the fence, and he went with it. But I don't remember personally seeing any fence posts knocked down. I mean, you got to remember, I was a young girl, and just seeing that alone would give me PTSD for the rest of my life.
Right.
But
That
yeah,
was just one of the things. That was just one of the things I had read in the paper, is that the elders had said that they thought that he had been attacked by the Gugwe that was present the night that the three girls were killed.
Well, they conjured it up. My uncle was one of the main head ones to do it.
And while
Sometimes,
we're talking,
like my daddy said, you got to be careful what you wish for, because they mess with the devil, and the devil's going to get you.
well, speaking of the devil, let's talk about another person that you know that you're going to be able to shed some light on. And I
Okay.
know you don't. I know that this name is not a name spoken in a lot of places, but what do you know
If
about
you
a?
wait, hold on. If just say a first name, don't say a last name, just in case, and I'll figure out who it is.
Let's talk about Sam the Shaman.
That one there, I honestly, truly, like I said, my dad was around the good medicine men. I think he kept me, because you got to remember I was young. He kept me shrouded when it comes to the bad ones. But uh, like I said, my uncle and buddy were the ones I scared of the most. I guarantee you that guy there would not have scared me as much and as my uncle and buddy. I mean that
What
with all my heart.
what
But
about the
I'm not a
shaman?
bad medicine man.
What about the shaman from Salina?
No.
You knew I was going to go there.
that uh
And there was a lot of evil going on in the town because there was a girl murdered right in front of you, also, correct?
yeah, yeah.
We don't want to talk about that, though, right?
No. No.
Okay.
No.
Moving on. Could you please describe the time that you saw the Gugwe in that area and what he looked like?
Yeah. I'm a back road specialist. Anybody that knows me knows I love cruising back roads. I love going to the country, and I love going to spooky places. Um, and uh, and cryptids, because the first cryptid I ever saw Yes, okay, Hercules, that's my wolf. First cryptid I ever saw was in 1974, and my papa goes, "Hey, Lee, you better stop them horses from stampeding." I'm like, "Yeah, right." I did. I did whatever my papa said. He's one of them type of old men. He's more 1919. You did what you told him. So I'm out there stopping the stampeding horses. Look up in the corner of my field where that circle is we're talking about, Mike. And there he was, red, brown, big, huge, Bigfoot. We called him Roy Boy. Okay, now that's where they were. I didn't. I had no fear. I rode my horses around there for years. I didn't have fear until after my uncle and them got around doing that. And then this here's how we go with the. I call them ugly. Anyway, this thing we're cruising down back roads, and we decided we're going on the other side of the Girl Scout camp, and that's going down to Spring Creek toward Twin Bridges. If anybody raised up around there knows where I'm talking about. So anyway, it's beautiful. It's like a winter wonderland, when all the ice crystals are on the trees and are iced over and everything, and you could hear cars coming down there. And I'm not kidding you. I lived way down there in the woods. I could hear a car coming about 8 miles away because the way the haulers go, and you could tell who it was by the sound of their car. So anyway, so Marty Littlefield, bless his heart, he's deceased now. He had restored this car, and it's kind of like the car Christine. So we got to cruise around at night. So here it goes. See this big, huge, two-legged quadrupedic, straight-legged thing, not curved back like a dog man. But I didn't get to see the dog man until 1994. So anyway, all I knew were like Bigfoots and other creatures. So anyway, it's huge, and it crossed in front of us, and I'm like, oh man. So we're going on down the hill where it goes down to Twin Bridges, or going on down to Cooper's Ridge. So big old boulder there, and I'm like, there's not no boulder here, and anyway, we go right by it, and I'm like this, and went and Marty's going, don't break my window, his glass. I said, what about getting our heads ripped off? And he's just worried about his car. And I'm like, and anyway, what it did, it lunged, and when it did, Michael, it had teeth. It had like curved teeth, not flat like a Bigfoot. It had curved teeth, and it had kind of like I call it like a cross between, like, if anybody's seen that movie, Dracula, with oh God, what's his name? I just really like the guy too. Anyway, Bram Stoker's Dracula, but I can't think of his name. I'm too shook up. But anyway, that creature there, kind of like between a bat looking face type, but it had the sharp teeth. It, it was like right by the back window. Huge, big, black. Like I said, it didn't have square teeth like a Bigfoot. The Bigfoot has square teeth, and then this one had more, all a bunch of them. But it wasn't like a werewolf because, later on in years, then you get what people call the dog man, but I call them the wolf people. But it didn't have the crooked legs like that. It had the straight up, like Bigfoot, but tree trunks. And like I said, but it had the weird face and the weird teeth. Something creature like I'd never seen, and it did come from the west side of Camp Scott.
And then, also at Camp Scott, the one thing that I thought was really weird, and I think you'll think's weird too, is why do you think there was partial female DNA found inside of the tent that one of the three girls that were there? And this is allegedly and speculative.
Right. Allegedly, my cousin told me that one of the counselors were involved, and allegedly there was one that was dressed as a woman, but was a man. So there were men down there that was brought in with the busload, but this was a planned hit. Or planned sacrifice. This was not just, oh hey, let's go do this. This was a planned, premeditated, ritualistic sacrifice to I guess conjure up to be able to conjure up that creature Something had to been involved to kill. You need to tell the people how the Girl Scouts were killed. I can't say it. I can't talk about it.
After reading some of the reports, if you have children in the room, you'll want to ask them to leave, which they shouldn't be present for any of this, anyways.
Right.
The girls, and I'm going to use allegedly because there's so many
Right.
reports in this,
Right.
but one of them was twisted up so bad that she looked like a pretzel. One had sustained injuries to her face and head that looked like a crowbar and what would be a carpenter's hammer. Um, very brutal murders. It was
Weren't they with
one,
the hatch?
one of the weird things that happened in that I felt, and I think was a big reason that Leroy Hart was found innocent, is the girls were sexually molested, but they were not penetrated as far as intercourse. The MO of uh, Leroy Hart was to rape his victims, not to sexually just assault them. So, and just speaking from, just investigations and things,
He had a vasectomy.
they will normally follow their same MO.
Yeah.
And as the girls, they had,
each one was tortured in a different way. Like Buddy would be the type that'd want to torture you, and he got sexual gratification by, on them. Not sexually. God, how do I say this nice? I don't know how to say it nice. Not having intercourse with them, but doing that on them, ejaculating on them. That would be his thing. Gene Royce was tying them up, right? Was like tying them up. That shaman dude one would probably be the one that, but they all were possessed. Had to be to do something horrible like that to them little girls. I mean, that's one of the most horrible, heinous crimes. Not in Mays County, not in Locust Grove, not in Mays County, not in Oklahoma, not in the United States. It was global. That was a global, worldwide thing. That's horrifying. It's
and you know what?
There's no
people
one man could have done that. They're all different, killed different ways. And like you're saying, a psycho will go. A serial killer will usually do the same MO. Just like when Buddy got caught with them little girl trinkets. Well, shoot, probably every one of them trinkets was one he killed. Because they let him go all them years.
Right. There was evidence
do that.
There was evidence at the scene that suggested more than one. There was different knots were tied different ways in the girls, which would indicate
like two of them were holding them. Yeah, that's horrible.
Another thing, we had different fingerprints, different shoe prints.
Yeah. And
a
Buddy
lot of different
little
things.
feet. If I remember, he had like little feet. He was a little guy, little like Charlie Manson, looked just like him.
Right.
Just like him.
Why do you think that they, and I don't know if you want to talk about a building that was moved to a property or not. Do you want to talk about that, or do you want to skip that?
I gotta. This, if anybody's got any help on this that knows me and my family, my family at one time, they had enough powered stroke that they could have had this building brought to our place. It was put in the back. We had animal buildings, we had kennels, we had animal buildings all over, and then my uncle's, and it was put closer to my uncle's place. Anyway, it was a green building with Camp Scott on it in stenciled letters. And that's when I lost it. I was screaming and crying and saying they're going to curse our family, and why would they want to do that to us even more and more, and have a daily reminder and make me go out there and go get. We had this paper that we put in crates when we ship them through the airlines or through our own plane. We had it at Pryor, but it's crumpled paper, and it also soaks up blood. Very good at soaking up blood. They'd make me go in there and do this, and I was freaking out. And Papa and my uncle were there, and I said, "What in the world would you do that to our family for? Why?" And they said they had it flown there by helicopter. They said they had it, and that's what they told me. And I said, they said, "Yeah, we got an auction," and they told me this. They had an auction at Camp Scott. Right. This is before the OSBI got called, and they had it flown in to our place. Well, I had been there locked down at the house. I wouldn't go nowhere, but I don't remember hearing a helicopter. But like I said, Michael, at the time, yeah, my family could have had that done. And then I just read just a while ago how they did fly out. I forgot all about that, them flying out them floors. And then they put in that paper the wrong tent. I don't know if that's a typo or if they had the wrong. Anyway, if anybody has any information about there being a building like that out of my homestead, please let Michael know. It has been bugging me since I've been going to be 12, going to be 13 years old. And I've never in my wildest dreams thought my family would do something like that. Because that's a cover-up. That there's no other. I've went over this in my mind over and over. There's no other answer. None. And how would you get into a crime scene, Michael? You're in the well, I can't say. Let's see what's the word I'd say? Security, or I can't say policeman, but what could I call you? Anyway, security.
No, I'm not active. I'm not actively working right now. I'm just an independent investigator.
But if you were working a triple homicide of little girls that went worldwide, that global, how in the world would you let somebody come in and get a building? Now they did have dump trucks they could have been in and brought it, but how in the world would you compromise? You wouldn't.
I think there was many failures in this investigation. Personally, in my opinion.
Right.
And I want people to understand that you witnessed things of such importance that you were moved out of state for your safety, correct?
Yes. Military, yeah. That's all I'm going to say. Yeah.
She was sent out of state for her safety. We'll leave it at that.
Right.
They feared for her life.
Right.
We've made it to the last and final question. We've went a little bit over an hour with a lot of information. And the last question is really a speculative question, or you may know, being from the area. Do you believe these practices are still being practiced in that area, or do you believe they have stopped?
I left that area. I left that area, and I had been in hiding basically since when I ran into you-know-who in 2009. So I've been here where I'm at now. And then I didn't know that they were dead until I talked to Michael. And the reason why I wanted people to know why I got with Michael. And a person that had information like this probably could have got on any TV show, talk show, whatever. I'm not into for that at all. Not at all. The reason why is I'm getting older, and when my cousin died mysteriously here this year, it freaked me out. And it freaked me out so bad that I thought my life might be in danger again. And, I'm thumbing through YouTube because I'm not used to all this computer stuff, I'm thumbing through there and I'm seeing Michael's deal. And I thought, oh, wow, crickets, that's cool. And then I seen Girl Scout deal and I went, oh, no, here we go again. And I just, I'm not meaning nothing, Michael, but you got to understand me now better. And I went, oh, God, not another one. So I to this day, have not listened to Michael's deals. But I will after tonight. I won't. I got too much going on in my mind. But after this, Michael, I will listen to your deal. But I wanted people to know that I have not listened to anything that I have had enough of it. Until when I heard that sheriff on TV last year, oh, there's one man, da da da, and I thought, no way, I'm not going to die. I'm not going to get killed or die, and let these people get away with it. And then kind of find out most of them are dead anyway. And I would have went all the way. My deal's going down low too. I would have went all the way with it. I would have went to court, Michael, to get these people. I would have, but they're dead and they're rotting in hell. And there's a special place in hell for people like that. But yeah, I think practices will probably always be going on. They might have them somewhere. I don't know. That's just an evil place down there. I'm not going to go down there and find out. Those demons follow you home. And then if you rebuke them and you let them back in, they come back sevenfold. You know that from the Bible. And curses and blessings are true. It says in the Bible. And I believe in the Lord with all my heart. And I'm Native American too. And so is Michael. But we're Jesus Christ Lord. So. I can't hear you. I can't hear you, Michael.
I'm getting old and forgetful. I'm actually done with my questions, but what I would like to do is I want to let you kind of have an open floor, and I want you to kind of tell people, why you believe that they were involved in the murder and what, if anything, because, and also I know that you want to make it clear to the people that you do not want to be contacted again about this. No. And this is an exclusive.
Right.
And you don't want to relive any of this, and not to contact you about this, that this is it, right?
Right. This is it.
You
reason
have the floor.
why, yeah, okay. I have PTSD, and I'm not ashamed of it. I think I've lived in enough crazy stuff in my life that I'm lucky to even be alive, but I have been getting help, and y'all out there, don't be ashamed to go get help for mental health. It took them 3 years to get me to the answers of my root problems, and my root problems stemmed from this Girl Scout thing, and also they think I could have been ritually abused or abusive, whatever they call that, abuse through ritualistic practices, which I have no remembrance of. But for anybody out there that's experiencing anything or sacrifices or get away from white slavery, have faith in God and don't give up and don't show fear. They love it. They love it when you show fear. Just try to, sometimes it's good time to keep quiet and shut your mouth to keep your life. And that's what I did. But then there comes a time when it's time to open that up and let it be known. And that way, when I do go to my grave, at least I can hope to God help these families know that this was not from one man, and that it was planned, and that there was people high above that knew about it. And basically, that's all I have to say, except for just keep faith in the Lord. And if you guys need anything, contact Michael. I don't want to be contacted by anybody. That's it. That's all. I'm done with it. I'm gonna rebuke the devil in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ and plead the blood over this whole thing right now. And I'm gonna try to get something to munch on and get something to drink, Michael. And I'm gonna get off here. I'm running. My battery's running low. It ended just about right, didn't it?
All right. Well, thank you, Lisa, very much. And I'll set up a time for you to talk to me and Cal and Janice, and we will talk about this video. Okay. And right. It won't be released until you're notified. Okay.
Okay. Hey guys, Michael's got some really good people on his team. And like I said, I had many chances. I could have went on TV and all this over that, and I never did it. But Michael just had that special country boy, Okie country boy in him. Down
Well,
there.
well, I sure appreciate you trusting me, and I want people to know that they think that we haven't been working hard. This has been months ongoing. There's been a lot of talk between me and Lisa, a lot of work, a lot of investigative.
A lot of freak out, me calling my psychiatrist. I had a psychiatrist, a counselor, a nurse, a life coach, and an RSS. I had 5 different types of people working with me.
Well, God bless you.
God bless you too, honey.
All right. We will talk to you soon, okay?
All right. And bless your channel, Michael. All right, y'all. Thank you so much. And like I said, bless everybody involved. And watch Michael's channel, guys. He's worth it.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
All right, guys. You just heard from from Lisa that had contacted me and said that she is a witness to this, and it's been a really hard road for her. I can't add any to her story as I wasn't there. This is her story. I'm just facilitating it and telling her story, and I hope it gives her peace and she finds peace. And I have some things I'm going to add to this, and I think it'll show some things that I've investigated that will bring some light to some things. That'll be right after this. Thanks, guys.